Paris, September 9th, 2025, the French capital and its surrounding suburbs woke to a troubling scene this week, one that has sent ripples across the country and reopened debates about tolerance, secularism and national unity. Outside several mosques, pig heads were discovered deliberately placed as a provocation. For many, the images were shocking. For the government, they were a call to act. French Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau was among the first to respond publicly. Speaking after a meeting with leaders of Les Républicains, the centre-right party to which he belongs, Retailleau delivered a message that was both stern and empathetic. His choice of words underlined the seriousness with which the French state views such acts of intimidation. Bruno Retailleau said, "This is outrage. I made it known a few moments ago. It is absolutely unacceptable, and I sincerely hope that those who committed this kind of desecration will be found." His tone reflected not only anger, but also an insistence on principles that, in the French context, hold immense weight: secularism or laïcité and freedom of worship. Retailleau reminded the country that the values binding France together are meant to protect every citizen, regardless of faith. Bruno Retailleau added, "And I insist that our Muslim compatriots can practice their faith in serenity. What secularism demands is that we all adhere to the common rules, regardless of our beliefs. But from there, I believe we have no right precisely to insult any particular religion. And I want to express my solidarity with our Muslim compatriots at this moment, and I understand that they are hurt." The appearance of pig heads at religious sites carries heavy symbolism. In Islam, pigs are considered unclean, and such acts are not random pranks, but targeted attempts at insult and humiliation. By leaving animal remains at mosques, the perpetrators aim to provoke, to intimidate, and to deepen divides. The French authorities have not released details about which mosques were affected or how many incidents occurred in total, but the Interior Ministry confirmed that security services were immediately mobilised. Investigations are underway, and police units in Paris and its suburbs have been tasked with gathering evidence, reviewing surveillance footage, and identifying suspects. Retailleau's statement reflects a dual responsibility, condemning the perpetrators and reassuring Muslim communities that the French state stands firmly with them. In recent years, incidents of Islamophobic vandalism have raised concerns about the safety of places of worship. This latest case rekindles those fears. Bruno Retailleau, newly appointed as Interior Minister, is not a political newcomer. Known for his disciplined rhetoric and measured conservatism, he now finds himself in one of the most delicate posts in the French government, responsible not only for security and law enforcement, but also for the protection of national cohesion. The challenge he faces is immense: maintaining France's constitutional principle of secularism while ensuring that secularism is not twisted into a cover for hostility toward religion. Retailleau's words reflect this balancing act. By stating that secularism requires adherence to common rules, he is reaffirming a widely accepted view in France: the state is neutral and all citizens are equal under the law. Yet he goes further by emphasising that no religion deserves to be insulted. That distinction matters. In a political climate where debates about Islam, integration and national identity often become heated, Retailleau's phrasing suggests a commitment to moderation and respect. Muslim associations across France have long warned about rising hostility. For many of them, the placement of pig heads is not only an insult, but also a form of intimidation designed to discourage worshippers from attending mosques. Community leaders, speaking on background to French media, welcomed Retailleau's condemnation, but also urged for stronger measures. They argue that while words of solidarity are essential, what truly matters is consistent protection and swift justice. Past incidents of desecration, they note, sometimes faded into public memory without resulting in accountability. The Conseil Français du Culte Musulman, CFCM, the body representing Muslims in France, has often highlighted the gap between political declarations and on-the-ground realities. They are now calling for enhanced security outside mosques, especially during sensitive periods, and for educational campaigns to combat stereotypes that fuel such hostility. The timing of the incident is not accidental, many observers believe. France is in the midst of a politically tense moment, with debates about immigration, integration and national security dominating the headlines. The far right has continued to push narratives that frame Islam as incompatible with French identity, while left-leaning voices emphasise pluralism and anti-discrimination measures. In this environment, acts of desecration acquire an even sharper edge. They are not isolated stunts, but signals in a broader culture war. The Interior Minister's task, therefore, is not just to denounce, but also to reassure the wider public that the state remains vigilant and impartial. This is not the first time mosques in France have been targeted. Over the past 2 decades, vandalism has ranged from graffiti and broken windows to arson attempts and desecration of sites. Each time, political leaders issue condemnations. Each time, communities brace themselves for the next attack. What makes this episode particularly resonant is the symbolism of the pig head, a gesture calculated to offend Muslim religious sensibilities. It evokes memories of earlier far-right provocations across Europe, where similar tactics were used to stir outrage. In some cases, such incidents have been traced to organised extremist networks seeking to inflame divisions. At the heart of the controversy is France's interpretation of secularism. Laïcité is often invoked in debates about headscarves, public prayer, and religious expression. But in this instance, the Interior Minister turned the concept on its head, using it to defend Muslims' right to practice freely. By saying that secularism demands adherence to common rules, Retailleau underlined that equality, not exclusion, is the essence of the principle. His insistence that no religion should be insulted broadens the scope of secularism as a protective rather than restrictive framework. It is a subtle but significant shift in emphasis. For years, secularism has been politically weaponized in France, especially against visible signs of Islamic practice. Retailleau's remarks suggest a recalibration, one that recognizes the pain inflicted on Muslim citizens and positions the state as their defender. Retailleau's response carries political weight beyond the immediate crisis. As a senior figure within Les Républicains, his words will be scrutinized both by allies and opponents. The party has been searching for a balance between appealing to conservative voters and avoiding the extremes of the far right. By condemning the desecration unequivocally, Retailleau positions himself as firm on values but moderate in tone. For the government as a whole, the incident is another test of its capacity to address religious tensions without inflaming them further. President Emmanuel Macron, though not yet having commented directly on this case, has repeatedly emphasized the need for unity and vigilance against extremism, whether Islamist or Islamophobic. Investigators now face the practical task of finding the culprits. While desecration cases are notoriously difficult to solve, often committed at night in areas without sufficient surveillance, authorities have promised thorough work. Retailleau's own words, expressing his hope that the perpetrators will be found, raise expectations among the public. The broader challenge, however, is preventing future incidents. Security measures, prosecutions and political declarations are part of the puzzle, but deeper cultural work is required. France remains a country where identity and belonging are contested issues and where provocations can escalate into cycles of mistrust. Retailleau's press appearance lasted only a few minutes, but its resonance continues. His insistence on solidarity and serenity for Muslim citizens was a deliberate choice aimed at calming anxieties and affirming national values. As he put it, the state's duty is not merely to condemn, but also to stand shoulder to shoulder with those targeted. His recognition of the hurt felt by Muslims was both empathetic and political, a reminder that unity cannot be built without acknowledging wounds. In a France where debates about secularism often turn divisive, Retailleau's remarks were a rare moment of clarity. They underscored that secularism, properly understood, is not about erasing religion, but about ensuring equality of respect. For now, the investigation continues, the political conversations unfold, and the Muslim community waits to see whether the solidarity expressed in words will translate into real protection. This is outrage. I made it known a few moments ago. It is absolutely unacceptable, and I sincerely hope that those who committed this kind of desecration will be found. And I insist that our Muslim compatriots can practice their faith in serenity. What secularism demands is that we all adhere to the common rules, regardless of our beliefs. But from there, I believe we have no right, precisely, to insult any particular religion. And I want to express my solidarity with our Muslim compatriots at this moment, and I understand that they are hurt.
Et je veux dire ma solidarité vis-à-vis de nos compatriotes musulmans en cet instant, et je comprends qu'ils soient blessés.